The root of all excellence.
I want to welcome everybody to the Root of All Excellence.
Welcome. Hey, everybody.
Thank you for joining us. So like recently, your brother texted me, and in the text it stated that I should have like a conspiracy button that contained like a whisper or alarm or something like that, right? So,
Is your conspiracies tingling?
right. So, it kind of made me feel like I've been saying that a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the point where like he actually think I need a button, right? Which is a dope idea, and I got that coming, by the way.
Right.
I just wanted to kind of give an opportunity for people to understand like why I'm this way and kind of my logic behind being a conspiracy theorist, right? So, number one, let's just get this out the way. There's different levels of being a conspiracy theorist, right? You have like logical. I would say like the logical level, right? Meaning like if something happened here, logically, I am to think that something happens here, right? That kind of thing. Then you also have like people who maybe like stretch too far, you know.
Right.
They kind of dig within the government, and you know, and then you have the top level where you go like, you know, the lizard people, right?
Right.
I think because they all group together, they kind of treat it like the same thing, right?
Well, they could be dismissed.
Right. Kind of group together, all dismiss all of them at once.
Yeah, everybody's crazy.
Right. So, my whole premise to being a conspiracy theorist, right, is number one, I consider myself a critical thinker, right?
Right.
Which means that let's go past the surface level. Let's ask why.
Right.
Right. Let's ask what does this really mean?
Right.
Right. So for me, it's just a part of how I operate, right? I see something and I go, is this what I think it is? Let me look a little further, right?
Right.
Is this the way I operate? So, yeah. Also, I want to say that the reason why I do it on the show so much is because I kind of want people to kind of do the same thing, right? Like, don't look at things from the surface level. I want to motivate people to become critical thinkers, right? A lot of things that is put in front of us is not as it seems most of the time, right?
Right. But I don't know. I think people have to be ready to be a critical thinker and kind of dig a little deeper.
Definitely, I agree. Because I mean, for the most part, right? When I became a critical thinker, or when I was like going through this transformation, right, it can be very shocking, right? When you see the truth beyond what they show you, right? So I mean, you're right. I mean, I think that people got to be kind of ready to receive this kind of the information that we didn't think that exists, right?
Right. But I think also for you, like, it is something that you kind of can't help anymore.
Right.
Like, you can't help but do it.
Right.
As opposed to, like, I don't know, sometimes I do critical thinking, sometimes it just goes over my head and I'm not paying attention.
Right.
So it just is what it is.
So, right, it became kind of like how I operate. So a lot of things, I'm very attention to detail, right? I don't know if it's a military thing or I don't know.
Maybe.
But I'm very attention to detail, right? It's very hard in most cases to like pull one over on me. And the hardest part about like being this way is sometimes you got to pretend like you ain't see it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody come at you and it's obviously like a trick or a scam, or I'll see it right away. But to make sure that it don't get out of control, sometimes I got to make sure that I pretend like I don't see it.
Wow.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the hardest part about, you know, kind of catching everything and you know, seeing everything is you got to pretend sometimes like you don't see it because everybody don't see it the same way. You could be perceived crazy,
Right.
Until it actually come about, until the actual information is out there.
There's proof. Right.
You could be just like this crazy, you know what I mean? So,
like in the movie.
Right, with I got my tinfoil hat on, and so you could definitely be perceived as crazy, and that's not something I'm interested in, right? So a lot of times I'll either pull back or pretend like I didn't see it at all, right? So I mean, you know, I just kind of wanted to get the people who listen, my perspective on that and some of the ways I work. Now let's get into some conspiracy theories.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about the jab. I don't want to say what the jab is because, you know, may get flagged. So I don't know.
Right.
But just me, right? I've never in my life seen this much effort,
right,
towards getting the jab or the poke.
Right.
Call it the poke.
Anything healthy.
Right. They don't, like, if you don't, listen, if you have cancer and no insurance, they'll let you die.
Right. Anything. Anything.
Right. You don't have, they gonna just let you die.
Right.
If you call the insurance, if you call or the doctor and go, hey, listen, so my son, he has a disease, and if I don't get help for him, he's gonna die. Well, you have to have insurance, but I don't make enough money for the adequate insurance. Oh, well, you're gonna have to have a state, right? Welfare or Medicaid or whatever it is now, right?
Right.
Well, I make too much money for that.
Right.
Well, they gonna let them die.
Yeah.
There's no.
Or bill you $1 million.
In this country, this is ran by capitalism.
Right.
Right. So when it comes to the poke, I'm supposed to believe, right? And it's just logic. It's logic that this much promotion towards getting the poke is in my best interest.
Right.
And you wouldn't do that for diabetes. You wouldn't do it for cancer. You wouldn't do it for somebody who need dialysis because they have a fail. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not the same.
It's something is there.
You know?
Yeah. So I don't know. I think for me, just having taken a lot of research classes, a lot of research, what is available, what's ethical, and type of thing like that, it doesn't feel ethical. It doesn't feel well researched enough for it to be a widespread medication that is given to everybody for free.
Right.
No questions asked. Right?
Right.
Every age, right, is able to take it. No side effects are being reported. And if you do have side effects, let's just call it a side effect of the poke, and it is what it is.
Right.
But there are things that are happening that aren't being talked about.
Definitely.
And so I feel like there's something going on.
Right.
That it was just too fast.
Right. So recently, it came out that moms who breastfeed can pass the vaccine through the breast milk.
Right.
Right. And there's other things that has come out about the poke, right?
Right.
So is that a conspiracy theory or is it
What?
logic? You know what I mean?
What?
That I would think that, this much advertisement towards actually getting it. It's like, wait a minute, what are they trying to do?
Right.
Right? You don't care about us this much.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it's so much like, I seen a dude, man, just side note. I seen a dude who was like sitting on a car or leaning against the front of the hood of the car. And he was like, hey, yo, you know what I'm saying? I'm out here, I'm getting it. And I got to get my vaccine, man. I got moves to make. It was like crazy. It was the level of advertisement was crazy, right?
Right.
They giving away guns, weed,
Raffles.
You can win $1 million if you get.
Right.
They giving away food.
All kinds of stuff.
Right? They just and I've never seen this effort to do something ever in my life.
That's good for you.
What?
That is good for you.
Right. That's supposed to be good for you.
Right.
Right? Now if you look at in Flint, they have not had clean water since I don't know when.
Yeah. It's been years.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this vaccine though, it don't make sense.
Right.
Right? It just don't make sense.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when it comes to me being a quote unquote conspiracy theorist, right? It's because it don't make sense.
Right.
Right?
I guess that's the part where you're just like, make it make sense.
Yeah, just make it make sense.
Right.
There's no way.
Right.
Just make this make sense.
In a real, like, genuine way. Like, just a regular, basic way of understanding that it would make sense, right?
Right, just make it make sense.
Make the numbers make sense.
Everything.
Make the time frame make sense. Follow the proper procedures. Let me know what the side effects may be, what the side effects are, but you don't even know because you haven't done enough research for enough time.
Right. And then I feel like it was brazen when it came to the entire thing, right? Meaning like 98% recovery rate, but you need to get a vaccine,
Right.
right? It's like, if 98, that's pretty good. That's pretty good odds, man.
But even if you don't, even if you've had it, you
can
still
get
need
it.
to get the vaccine.
Right. And if you get the vaccine, you can still get it.
Right. And you can still pass it.
So like, just make it make sense.
Right. I think that's the part where it was just a miss for me.
Right.
But I mean, maybe that may be a conspiracy theory, but I think it just, I think very basically, I just wanted it to make sense and it didn't make sense. So.
But I think a lot of people will go, hey man, you've been a conspiracy theorist when it comes to this thing, because why would the government want to you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that a lot of times being a conspiracy theorist or just a critical thinker,
Right.
when you think critically, a lot of times people who don't, it go completely over the head.
But I think also that may be because some people don't know.
Right.
Right. Don't know, like, why, like the question of why would the government do anything, right? It's because they don't know, like, what the government has done.
Right. And I think that,
or that we know the government has, that's public knowledge of what the government has done.
right. But I think that if you are of a certain age and you don't know, that is like your fault.
I think it could be your fault, but it could also not be your fault.
Explain.
Like if you're not paying attention, like
Right.
if you're just going along with what it's supposed to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be
Legit. It's
legit.
supposed to be.
It's supposed to be the truth. It's supposed to be how everything works. If you actually trust that, then I think you're gonna not know. You're not going to understand.
Right. Right. I mean,
So you could be in that bubble.
right. So another thing that I was kind of looking at with a squinted eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was the police in Chicago got caught shooting at people,
Right.
right?
In a drive-by.
Now, you would think,
Out the car.
right, you would think that because all of the murders in Chicago, that this would be a big story.
Right.
But it's not.
Right.
Right? They kind of mentioned it, swept that shit under the rug.
Right.
Well, we said something about it.
And kind of disappeared.
Right. Now, because we know that happened, my critical thinking goes to how many people they murdered.
Right. And how many of them are doing it.
Right. Like, how much of this is going on?
Right.
And what is the agenda behind it?
Right. Because it can't be an isolated incident.
Right.
And why would, like, what was... So based on the article,
Right.
it was 2 officers, plain clothes, plain car, that were going to a training
Yeah.
and shot somebody out the car.
Right.
Got out, shot him again.
Oh, so they finishing niggas off.
I don't know if they finished him off, but I know they got out the car and approached. So my thing is, like, and the only reason that they didn't have body cam, they didn't have any of that. The only reason that they found out, like, this is what happened, because of course they lied on the report.
Right.
The only reason why they found out that this happened is because of outside camera surveillance.
Right.
That they were able to see what exactly happened and took place. And then the guy was just walking down the street.
Right.
So that does lead to the question of, you haven't done this before. This isn't the first time.
Right.
This isn't the only time that this has happened.
Right.
How many times have you done this? And how many times have other people on the force done this?
Right.
And why?
What is the reasoning behind this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it makes me feel like, how many ongoing wars in Chicago, how many beefs in Chicago is started or antagonized by the police? Right?
Right.
That's not a conspiracy theory.
Right.
That's logical. Right? That's critical thinking. Yo, we know that the police shot a motherfucker for no reason.
Right.
Right? Lied on the report, everything. Right? Now, this the one that they caught.
Right.
How am I not gonna go, hey, wait, how many of these they done? How many more people?
Right.
Right? We understand that it's a lot of murders in Chicago that get unsolved.
Right.
And if it's the police doing it, I understand why.
But then it also expands outside of Chicago.
Right.
Because we know if the police officer in Chicago would do something like this,
who else?
what about these other police officers?
And what is the agenda behind it?
Right.
Right? Now, that it's just how I work, right? When it comes to something like that, it's just I need more people to be in that mind frame, right? I wish more people would be, right? Instead of looking at a person like me who would question that far.
But I think you would have to lead, right? It kind of would lead to that questioning, right?
Right.
So you go, okay, this happened in Chicago, so X, Y, Z. So this is how I got to Z, as opposed to you just going
to Z.
Z.
Now the crazy part about it is, I know a lot of times I go from A to Z, right, without leaving all the other alphabets kind of in the middle.
Yeah, AZ.
And that's something that I don't understand why I do, but I kind of be hoping like you could, if I give you A and Z, you could figure out the middle, can't you?
Figure out the middle of the alphabet.
You can figure out the middle of the alphabet, man.
All these other letters, I gave you 2.
Right, right.
Yeah. No.
I be hoping.
It don't work that way.
But I mean, I be hoping people know their alphabet, though. You know what I mean?
I mean, you hope,
But then I'm
but
talking to a bunch of people that don't know their alphabet.
there's a jump. You're jumping. So, like, if you're teaching kids ABCs,
Right. You can't teach them A, then Z.
you
and
can't
then be
go
like,
AZ.
hey.
Fill it in.
No, I get it. So yeah, I mean, I get that part. Like, I have to walk people through the conspiracy, and I'm gonna start doing that right here on this podcast.
I don't think you necessarily have to walk people through like that, but you might need to connect more dots.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Also, just as just like while we're talking about police killing and everything, I remember the first time I seen a documentary on Fred Hampton.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is also from Chicago.
Okay.
When I got to the part of, I thought like he was gonna go to jail, maybe, right?
And they did the raid.
Yeah, he was gonna come get him, lock him up,
Right.
right? He'll be a political prisoner of some sort, right?
He's still in jail or something.
Right. I'm thinking like, wow, because he was like very young, 20 something, the early 20s, right? When they tried to kill everybody in the house, and it just happened, right? Like literally, they went in there, murdered the man, lied and said that they was returning gunfire, right? And that's it. That was the end of the story.
That's it.
That's how that unfold, right?
Right.
So, just knowing that as a fact, right? It's not just what I believe. It's fact, right?
Right.
I would definitely go into this with that knowledge.
Go into
The fact that police is just randomly shooting niggas on the street with that kind of knowledge, right? So I mean, it's not like it's not mind blowing that the police would kill people, because we've seen, and we don't know how many other people that the police had something to do with killing, right?
Right. But we know there's a lot.
We know it's a lot.
Right.
Let's just bring up another conspiracy theory. I remember it was like early, maybe in the 90s, late 90s or early 2000s. I remember seeing like something on TV where like the guy was saying that the CIA had something to do with crack and drugs being in America, right?
Right.
So I never thought anything of it at that time, right?
Right.
A lot of times people say things that can be like so far from where you're thinking to the point where you just don't engage. Right.
And I feel like at that point you kind of think like, all right, well, okay, sir, whatever you say, whatever you say. Yeah, you're right.
This man is out his mind or something. I don't know.
It's the government.
It's the government. Right. So, and I was there at that time where it was like, yo, people would say the government did anything.
Right.
Right. So later through, different papers that I've done, different documentaries, different books that I've read, is the CIA actually came out and said, yeah, we did this.
Right.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that guy was right.
Yeah.
Right? He was right.
Right.
Right? So we do have within this country different things where the evidence is there that the government would do some fucked up shit.
Right.
Right? So
it's a long list.
So just to bring it all the way back, right? I go into the poke with that information.
Right.
Right? The CIA came out and said, yes, we have been like letting crack and cocaine come into and we kind of been funneling it right to the black community.
Yeah.
Okay. So now when it's time for the poke, I'm supposed to, and it don't make sense, I'm supposed to believe that
It's your best interest.
right, when I know they'll do some fucked up shit for a specific agenda.
Right.
Right? So, I can get like, when people go, hey, it's lizard people out here. Or aliens is, here.
Walking.
Yeah.
The royal family.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's a stretch, right?
It's a little stretch.
I don't know about reptile people.
Right. It's a little stretch.
But I wouldn't go that far. But then also you have like with the poke, like the Tuskegee syphilis study that was done.
Right.
So I think for me, it's more so stuff like that was done. That makes me like,
yo,
what are you doing?
Medically, they will do some fucked up shit around here.
Right. And then just say sorry
later. Oh, I bad. We didn't know.
Oh, we didn't know.
Okay.
Oh, we had a thought that you guys are a bit stronger than the average person.
Right. So there is information out there that this country would do something crazy or
unethical.
Yes, just to kind of push their agenda through.
Whatever it may be.
So in the last 2 years, conspiracy theory's been on it.
Yeah.
They ain't missed.
Oh, I don't know if they haven't missed.
I don't think they missed.
There's a conspiracy theory that Trump is really the president.
Yeah, now that is, come on.
I mean.
Right? The QAnon is a little like, come on.
What?
Come on now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But hey, it fits right into the same category, but some things can be more extreme than others.
That's true.
And it's backed by like what? Like no evidence. Right? And that was the kind of purpose of me going, hey, the government did this, so I go into that with this information was to go, they've done something like this before.
Right.
Right? So, but like, come on. He's really the president.
And he was taking over. When was he taking over? March?
Like March or something. Then it became like September.
Oh.
It just kept on pushing it.
Yeah.
Selling changes. More books and merch, baby.
Yeah.
So,
on the corner. But I don't know. I just feel like some things are a stretch, right? So some things are, it's just not believable. That doesn't make sense either. So, and then if something doesn't make sense, I don't think I necessarily have the answer for it or have a thought of what it actually is or what's actually happening. Right. I just don't trust what I'm being told necessarily.
Right.
And so then it's just, I don't know. It don't sound right to me. So right. I don't know. I'm just not going to participate.
Yeah, man. I'm going to sit this one out. And that's how it's going to be, you know?
Yeah, just see how it goes.
So I just wanted to give everybody a kind of understanding of me being a quote unquote, got the quotation marks, air quote quotation, a conspiracy theorist. I cannot help but to kind of use critical thinking skills when it comes to certain information, right? And I think I'm grateful for it, honestly, right? It's helped me a lot, kept me out of a lot of trouble.
But it can be stretched sometimes.
Definitely.
And there are assumptions that are made sometimes.
Definitely. And I'll be wrong a lot.
Yeah.
Let me just say that. You know what I mean? I'll be wrong a lot.
Yeah.
But it also kind of forces me to kind of have an opinion about certain things, right? Things that I engage in. It kind of forces me to have an opinion. when you critical think, when you do use critical thinking skills, it kind of forces you to have an opinion. And so, and not only just have an opinion, but stand by your opinion. You don't let nobody, you know what I mean? Until the truth comes out, right? And then we could walk this thing back a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But remember, it is an opinion.
It's definitely an opinion, right? So I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit more insight of how I work and what's going to be going on when it comes to this podcast in particular. I'm going to attack a lot of things with critical thinking and maybe a little bit of conspiracy theory. It's all good though. I'm going to be wrong a lot. Just rock with me. So with that being said, we're going to definitely get on up out of here. Be on the lookout for my new conspiracy button. I'm going to be hitting it like crazy, right? And big shout out to your brother because, it was definitely his idea.
Yeah.
And
spark something.
Yeah, so big shout out to him, Daniel. And as always, thank you for listening. And mental health is real and self-care is important. We got to get up out of here.
Thank you for listening.